lovely Lance Lumley asks, Jesse Ventura once said Tito Santana was the easiest to work with and was almost a night off when he wrestled Tito. Who was the easiest person Don wrestled? Was Don ever approached? And also, were you ever approached to write a book about your career? So
I have been several times. Yeah. Write a book. Everybody's got a book. I don't know. Organizing thoughts. I got a lot of podcasts out there. Should collect. Easiest to wrestle. I don't know if there's an easy, if a guy was easy to wrestle, you'd want a good match on him. Steamboat was easy. I mean, they're all easy, everybody at the where I was at my place, my position in professional wrestling, going through all the territories and stuff. I was in the upper echelon, upper tier of guys that drew money and performers and stuff. So, I rarely came across somebody that wasn't easy to work with. Now, Lars Anderson, they brought him into Florida and they wanted him to do a Johnny Valentine and work like Johnny Valentine. And there's one Johnny Valentine, there's one Snuka, one guy that could get, and Lars was good at it, but the people have moved on since then. The crowds, like now you just try and lay in a rear chin lock for 10, 15, 20 minutes or lay in a hole for 10 minutes, you're going to get stoned. People are going to throw they're just going to crap at it. And they'd moved on by, I had all these mice myself, Rocky Johnson, Pedro, we were the three baby faces, and we were doing all these hour Broadways with Lars, and they were, he tried to assimilate his timing to be like a Valentine, and when he was, because Lars was a great worker. Don't get me wrong. Before he tried to transform into this Johnny Valentine character, but there was no timing. There was no comeback. There was no entertaining. The whole match was like pulling teeth, which I got to do in an hour, a couple minutes. But the whole match was, and so his timing wasn't that of Valentine, where you could, with Valentine, you boom, boom, punch and punch and punch, and slowly you knock a brick out of the wall, and he would, but you'd have to work for it, and he didn't have that type of timing. He didn't have that type of charisma to carry it out. That was maybe that would suffice as a hard match I had. I mean, everybody else was, I worked with Morales, I worked with Rocky Johnson, and I worked with all the Tito, Killer Bean, I worked with George Steele, and I didn't have any hard time. Coco Beware drop kicked me into the middle of next week one time off the top rope in Toronto. Gave me a concussion, hit me so hard my head hit the mat. I had a headache for about 5-6 days. But aside, that was an accident, I think. I hope. But aside from that, there wasn't, where we were, there weren't hard matches. I wasn't a preliminary guy trying to make, maybe when I started, when I got into, I remember Bastien chewing me out one time, Red Bastien, because I'd been working with Fritz von Goring, was a good guy, good worker, and a big card back east. And I just couldn't gel with Fritz. And Shires was the promoter, and he was chewing me out. I said, I just can't drive with Fritz's style, his style. And Red Kim says, hey, man, don't be talking about a guy who's not. And I didn't mean to be. But, but I learned a good lesson from Red in that aspect. One time, he put me in my place, and I understood, that I was wrong, that I laid it off on somebody because I couldn't have, I wasn't able to create a good match out of it. And I was just blaming Fritter. But, there were no bad, there were no hard grab. But where I was at the last 10 or so years of my career, 15 years of my career, there were no hard matches.